Hey everyone. Hey, before we get started, I invite you to go to 3milestorage.com. That's the number 3milestorage.com. When you go to that website, you'll find my new book is available. Unlock the Power of Remote Management for Your Self-Storage Business is available. There is a free ebook version and also a link that will bring you to the physical version that you can order. So again, enjoy and go to 3milestorage.com.
So the big question is this: how are those in the self-storage industry like us going to be successful in today's market? That's the question, and this show will give you the answers. My name is Jim Ross, and welcome to the Self-Storage Show.
Hi everyone, this is Jim Ross from the Self Storage Show, and it's been a long time coming. I finally got AJ Osborne here on the show with me. What's going on, AJ?
How's it going, man? It's way too long. Honestly, it's shocking. We were just talking that has been so long. I'm super excited to be on here with you, but this is going to be fun.
No, I love it. It's the first time we've actually.
I know.
Oh, this is awesome. So, I guess to start off with, anyone that might be living under a rock in the self storage world and don't know AJ, kind of give us a little brief intro, and we'll jump into it.
Yeah, so I've been in storage since early 2000s. I was actually originally in the insurance game. So I did storage parallel to my job, right? And selling insurance, and was a consultant. And we went through the Great Recession. We owned, operated, managed. We built our management company up. And we got to, right now, we have over 2.5 million square feet across over 8 states. We're developing currently about 800,000 plus square feet. So we'll be right around 3.5, I think, coming into next year, just on our developments and the ones that we own. We've done, the developing side was later. It was all acquisition. So basically everything we do is acquisitions. We focus everything on business operations, operating them as a business, turning them around. Developments kind of came later and is a smaller piece to it, but we've done bankruptcy for Kmart's, about office buildings, turned them into storage facilities. So we did. We were founding members of Store Local, as well as tenants, and we're very involved in the industry as you. We like you, we're storage nerds, right? It's like this is what we do, and I became really passionate about self-storage. I became a quadriplegic overnight, lost my job in the hospital. I was fired while I was in the hospital. I was on life support for months, and I came out of that. They eventually sent me home when I was released, paralyzed, in bed. I just had our 4th kid, and was now unemployed. And self-storage, I say, it saved my financial life. We didn't lose my house. My wife didn't have to leave me and the kids, then paralyzed at home, to go get a job to try to pay bills. And as we've taken the years, over 5 years, not 6 years, coming back and relearning how to do everything. I had to relearn how to use my hands, my arms. I had to relearn how to walk. And over the last 5 years, we've been doing that. Our storage has grown, right? Income's grown. And then I focused at that point. I'm like, I'm not going back to that other stuff. It was all self-storage, and made a promise in the hospital. I said, I'm going to teach this, and I'm going to allow other people to join with us. And that's our mission now. And so then started talking about it, following leads like yours that are out there in the space, doing podcasts and everything. And as we talked about earlier, you do this, and I do this. I love to do this because of the value, right? It's about what you can do and give to others, because it's huge to us, right? It's really big and important, and it was so impactful in my life. I love the game as you do, and I'm happy to be on here with you, man, talking about it.
No, that's a blast. I mean, that's like I said, it comes from providing value first, and again with their content and that. And for those of you that haven't seen it, check out his YouTube channel. You go about your story. I'll post a link to it, but I know you have a whole video about your story and all the trials you went through and all that. It's amazing. So your journey has been incredible, but now you're here at this point now of providing value and the content you're putting out there, which is why I wanted you to come on. I'm thinking, as you do and I do, talk with owners every day, and there are a lot of people are getting into storage, newbies are getting in and things like that. And they're trying to find the sites that you can turn around. And I think you've mentioned it before about what levers you can push and
Yes.
pull when it comes to providing value for your site. And that value is, the revenue management and all that stuff all kind of goes hand in hand. And since, you're the man, you've done it time and time and time again. So I thought you could hit on a little bit about that on for the value.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the biggest reasons that, and I'm still in storage today, but one of the biggest reasons I got into it was when we looked at other real estate asset classes that we wanted to invest in, the lack of levers that would affect the revenue. I didn't like. I was in an all cash business. So this idea of buying real estate, and the market is going to make you, I don't buy into that at all. In fact, I don't like it. I don't like that's great. That's the cherry on top. But I could not buy under that principle. It felt like gambling to me, because I'm like, I don't know what the market's going to do. So when we looked at those assets, especially prior to 08, you remember how it was. It was like basically these assets were maybe breaking even, lots of the time running negative, and people were just like, buy them and you'll make money. That just didn't make sense to me. And then storage was the opposite at the time, where there were no investors interested in it. So the cap rates were super high and it was all cash flow. But then I looked at it and I'm like, I could buy something that has 80 units and it's the same price as something that has 2 units. And this one, I can do all these things to add on revenue and increase it. When you look at what obviously just a single line of item, like if you could increase $10 a month per tenant, you're like, okay, that's, on 80 units, that's $800. But then on a value basis, on a cap rate, what that does, all of a sudden you're just like, holy cow, mind blown, right? It was like that easy to create value. And storage, I looked at it was units or products. And we are going out to find the customer. So we do product customer fit. So every unit is a product that has a customer that wants to buy it and utilize it for a reason. So when we looked at it, I'm buying a company that is backed by real estate that has 9 different products within it. And I can find the right tenants and sell them to get into the unit. And we can charge appropriately for the ones that have the most demand. And that came into, we talk a lot about this, but on, dynamic pricing or really revenue management. And then from there, we can add on services, and you can add on sales, you can add on insurance, right? You can put in trucking. There's all of these things that you can do that sound little at first, but when you learn how it's applied in the business and how it works on the cash flow, it's actually tremendously valuable. And then from there, when the market goes up and rate increases go up and everything else like that, that's awesome. And it's a cherry on top, but we had a lot of effect on the value, that value day one, whether the market went up or not. And that's what I love about self-storage.
Well, it's amazing. Once you start looking at it, and it's the littlest things make the biggest difference. It really is. And then you start, like you mentioned, you start layering them on top of one another. It's crazy. What you can start doing, and just some of the, just the low hanging fruit. Let's just talk about that. Just some of the simple low hanging fruit that has.
Insurance day one. That is such an easy thing to do. How we do it in our shops is we do it. It's like mandated is a harsh word, but it's not wrong. It's like mandated with verified, meaning, okay, you have to have insurance. If you provide us and show us that your insurance will cover your things, your renter's insurance will cover your things in the units, that's fine then. Right? I'm not making you be double insured. But if not, which 99% of the time it's not, you do need to be insured to cover your stuff. We get 80% of that premium. So that premium comes back at 80% to us. Let's say it's $1 or $10 or $15, right, for that unit. You're adding on $8 a unit. And people may be like, well, $8 isn't a lot. But on a $50 to $100 unit, that's like, you're talking 8 to 20% increase on revenue on those units. Once again, like we talked about too, those little things make a huge, huge difference. Another thing we went to was at the time everybody was doing it was deposits. So we left deposits. Yes, I know, me too. I had the same reaction. And went to the sign up fees. No, you have a sign up fee,
Yeah.
$25 sign up fee, right? Okay, well then all of a sudden that started to work good. The next thing we went to, which was low hanging fruit, was you need to be on an automatic pay system. If you don't want to do that, that means my people have to work. I have to collect your cash. I have to take care of it. So I'm going to surcharge you for that. So if you make us do it, we're tacking on, whatever it is, a $20 or a $30 monthly servicing fee to do that. My person has to now take it. I have to pay them to go run to the bank. I have to shut down my business. So you have to pay me to do that service for you. And we had no pushback whatsoever. Everybody's like, that's fine. The people that wanted to pay it, they paid it. They paid the increase. I'm okay with it because now they're paying for our time and service, right? It shouldn't be given. And so we layer on these sound like little things, which they are. But the big picture of it, all of a sudden you're sitting here going, you bought an asset and you increased gross revenue by 25%. And we're not even getting onto the pricing structure with individual units and location of units and which ones are full, which ones are not, time spent, out of state, all of these other things that you can do on the pricing aspect, which can give you a much even bigger lift on those rental rates. The next thing, trucks, right? Truck rentals. So I know a lot of people that add in truck rentals and they do that. I'm actually not a big fan of that. That is not my model, but I know a lot of people do, and it's great they add it in. I think that's a pro for the operator, but it's a negative for the person acquiring it. And what I mean by that is, so if I'm an operator, it's a pro, but if I'm acquiring a facility and let's say they have a lot of income coming from truck rentals, right? I have issues with that as I'm buying it. The reason why I have issues is if I'm buying a business, I'm paying like a multiple of revenue, okay? So if I come in to buy a business, I'm gonna pay like 2x, maybe 3x times multiple to acquire that business and its revenue. Now, when you buy real estate, because it's backed by real estate, you're not paying 2, 3x, right? You're paying 15x, right? A big number. So when I look at that truck rental, I'm like, that's not real estate backed. I can't pay you 15 times for that revenue that has nothing to do with the real estate, right? So for acquiring them, I don't like it because I have to tell the owner, I am not counting that towards, I'll pay you 3x that revenue, but I'm not going to pay you 15 because it's not part of the real estate. Yeah. But it's a great way for owners to offset. They can do it even to add on, and you can pay certain types of fees, but add on another line of revenue. PO boxes, right? Communications, I know Amazon drops that people are doing now. So we take on, you come in, you pay our Amazon service fulfillment, where Amazon has our address, you go in, the Amazon puts the package into a certain place, people come to pick it up, you fulfill it for them, right? And so there's a whole bunch of things that I'm seeing people do that are creative, that are interesting. And the products itself, you have climate controlled, you have drive up, you have RV, you have contractor storage, you have large ones, small ones, right? We just look at that as so dynamic in what we can be offering and to who and what we can charge. Very easy to find higher paying people for select type of units. So lots of kind of things right there, but those are some things just right off the top of my head that I'm like, these are just normally easy wins on any facility.
Oh yeah, it's. I was there actually making notes on the auto pay thing because I sat down for quite a few different locations. I'm like, I got to get auto pay. I got to increase auto pay. I want to get 80%. That's always kind of my goal. I want 80%. That's a simple little tweak. Just simple tweak. Surcharge for it if they don't go on auto pay, and problem solved. That's
problem solved. You're paying for it. I don't care. But you have to make it worth it. You shouldn't come to think that we have to do your payment processing for you.
Yeah.
And we found that we don't get pushback for it. You explain it. If you give me cash, you now make me have to shut down and go to the bank. Yeah. And then I have to come back. You have to pay for gas, time, our business is closed. And everybody's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, totally. Let's see. I was overthinking it. That's what I'm famous for. Is I overthink things. So that's perfect. That was awesome.
Yes.
And this is again, a lot of times we kind of take this for granted because we're doing this day in and day out.
Yeah.
But with managers, I'm doing these consulting gigs. I'm talking with some owners, and we talk about rate increases. Okay, it's second nature to us. We know,
Yes.
your rate increases are what we're supposed to do. And so many times I hear still now, like almost like they have that badge of honor of I haven't raised my rates in 3 years, and like what well, I'm 100% occupied. You've heard that all the time. That's
Love it.
why, right?
Yep.
uh,
Love it.
can I talk a little bit about that as far as the rate increases and having a schedule?
Yeah. So one of our people in our office last week was like, "Hey, we need to talk about one of our facilities. It's at 78% occupied, right? This is really bad. They're really upset. They were holding a meeting, everything else like that. And so came into the meeting and said, okay, we're 78% occupied, but our revenue is up 30% year over year. And so it's like I have to remind them, occupancy doesn't matter, revenue does. So if we're at 10% occupancy, but we're making more money than if we were at 90% occupancy, why do you care, right? And it's this balancing act that people forget. They think that occupancy means money. It doesn't. It doesn't. They do not correlate like that. So when we work with our facilities, first of all, we never want to be over 90%, ever. That means I'm not getting new customers in. That means I'm not getting sign-up fees. I'm not getting new insurance. I'm not getting higher street rates. So you actually cave your entire acceleration of your revenue model by doing that.
Yep.
It's like literally pouring an engine full of sugar.
Yeah.
It shuts it down.
There's no flow.
No flow.
No flow. Yep.
And so, and then they don't know what they should even be pricing. They're like, I don't even know what the market's at. I don't even know where, because you have nothing to sell, right? And so when we look at it, we price things individually. So first of all, just because you have 10 by 10s doesn't mean 10 by 10s are all the same price. That makes no sense to me at all. If I have 100 10 by 10s and I have 2 of them left, why in the world would those 2 that are left be priced the same as all the rest of them? Because now they're limited. There's much higher demand. I don't have as many of them. I only have 2 of them. So you need to pay me a big premium to take my last 2 10 by 10s, like a big premium. And then 2, if I'm at that point, I'm changing all the rate structures on the increase that they get individually. So every single day in my entire portfolio, our rates are changing daily on all our different units. So when we have a customer come in, they are on their own individualized rate increase that happens every 6 to 9 months, which varies based upon its market, its unit type, what we're doing, but it'll vary somewhere from 6 to 15%, the rate increase will.
Yep.
Every one of them. And then we work on our excess units, right, and our street rates to accelerate that growth revenue and make sure that we're filling out demand and seeing where it is. We also offer specialized or specialty units based upon location, access, all that. Those are embedded with premiums that they have to pay to get those. They are very limited, and it's part of the utilization of the property, right? So we do not believe that rates are static, meaning here's price for all our products. We do not believe you do it all at the same time. They're individually based. So each person coming in and out, the individual unit, where it's located, type, size, etc., is all its own individual pricing. And that changes. That changes with the market. It changes with our internal demand, and it changes based upon the needs of the company. So that's how we look at pricing. And we spend a lot of time on that. But too many people just look at it as like a flatline static thing, and it's not.
Probably the majority.
Yes, the vast majority of it look like it that way.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Seriously. But doing the dynamic pricing like that and on an individual unit basis is just really key. But I'm curious because I know you have your managers at the sites and that you're not doing the remote thing. You have managers, right? Okay.
On most of them, we do have a few that we do more of the remote.
Gotcha. Do you spend a lot of time communicating that with the managers on site there? Because I hear sometimes from managers, oh, it's not fair. That's not fair. They're paying that price and they're paying this price, and that this whole dynamic.
Yes.
Business.
And
Lot of
this can
communication.
be an interesting topic because you got to remember managers default when they say it's not fair, things like that. What they really mean is, I don't want to get the complaints. So,
Yeah.
and it's, managers are, they are looking at their workload, what they have to do, and rate increases are managers' worst nightmares. Because when you give out rate increases, the tenants, who do they call? The manager. They don't call the owners. So the managers have to deal with the blowback. So they have been like emotionally trained to hate rate increases. Now, this is why I tell managers this is the best thing ever. Because if I have 800 units and I walk in and I say, all right, I'm going to increase rates 15% on all of those 800 units, manager, you're going to have somebody that is screaming at you every day for the next year. And they're all going to scream at the same time, all 800 of them. And it's going to be never ending. You're going to hate your life, everything else. But when you put an individual tenant into the system and they understand they get 6 to 9 months, guess what? They never complain.
Yep.
Why? Because they know that that's coming. That's how it works. They're trained. And two, you're limiting your exposure. So we have a facility that hadn't got a rate increase in 10 years when we took it over. And we gave a small rate increase and people freaked out and were yelling at us, calling us the devil, everything else like that. You're sitting here going, wait, you are 50% below market rate. You've never gotten a rate increase. You should have said thank you. We should have gotten thank you letters. So what you find is that that's not how tenants work. It's not like they, first of all, even care or understand. It's what they expect. So when they get standardized rate increases, our overall volume of tenants that call and bug that manager or talk drops astronomically. They know that it's part of the gig. They're used to it. It's standardized, and you're not concentrating it all at one time. So it's way better for the managers. And when we walk through with them and we kind of show them that, they understand it better. Would you rather me give everybody a huge rate increase all at the same time? And then you're going to have to deal with all the move outs, all the auctions, and everyone's going to hate you. Or would you rather just be a process of the business, which is normalized, and the tenants and the operations of the business are designed to deal with it, and that takes it off you?
Yep.
And then they're like, take it off me. I don't want to deal with the chaos, right? So you got to work with those managers on how you frame it. We also, you got to work with your managers, which is fairly easy today. And they're like, that's not fair. You shouldn't give rate increases. That's fine. I should definitely not increase your pay then. Wait, I didn't say that.
Exactly.
That's not what I said. Okay, but wait, don't you revenue comes to pay, right? So that tends to be a quick way to get them on board with rate increases. Is your compensation is tied to our revenue, and so if revenue goes up, I can bonus you, I can pay you more. If revenue doesn't go up but our expenses do, we make less money and I can't pay you anymore. Then they're a lot happier for you to give rate increases.
They're all in at that point.
That's right. It's like, you could do more. You could give Bob more. Give him more of a rental rate increase.
Again, it comes back to your company culture of just it's not that. Again, I always put myself in kind of their mindset. It's not like we're greedy in that. This is a business.
Yeah. No.
This is a business, and it's all points to make money. And the fact is, you treat each individual location as it's just its own separate business, and like the levers you can look at, and kind of getting them involved in this whole process as well.
Yeah.
And I started doing this recently. You talked about it right when we first started talking about, but just the value impact. That's when I started seeing, especially coincidentally enough, when I talk to owners. Sometimes I get pushback from owners sometimes of what I do for revenue and pushing the revenue. But when I put like I don't know, say like a 6 cap on it, I don't know what they are now, like a 6 cap on of the value impact, then you start seeing the light bulbs going off. I'm like, oh, carry on. That's awesome.
100%.
That a lot more, just communicating the value impact. It's helped.
Well, and you see it, I think it was when you had more of stagnant time, things like that. But when you put inflation and cost and everything rising where it is, owners are starting to really get back on, because they're like, yeah, my tax have gone up or in the last 6 years by 100% or more, right? And my cost of everything is skyrocketed. My gas, right, everything else like that. So all of a sudden, to think that we don't need to be participating in the market like any normal asset would, there is a reason why assets need to grow and businesses need to grow, right? It's not fair, nothing like that. If they don't, the economy doesn't grow. So everything is supposed to grow and keep up. And we are unabashful about that. And we also remember that if our tenants don't like that, they also have other options. I am not trying to be the low cost alternative in the market. That is not a goal. That is not what we try to. So we don't want low cost tenants. And they bring all the problems, and they pay none of the bills. They are all the energy that we spend on them. So we know who we're targeting. And we have that frank conversation. When we take over a facility, we sit down with the manager and we say, listen, this isn't going to be fun. And don't beat around the bush. Say your life is going to suck for 2 months, because what we're going to do is going to be dramatic and you need to be ready for it. And so now I'm going to help prepare you on why, how, and what this means. And we find out very quickly if the manager is on board with us running this as a business, or if they wanted to minimize their work and to have more time to sit on Netflix and watch TV and not take calls or do callbacks or anything else like that, because that's not how we operate. We don't run businesses like that.
Yeah.
So we find out really quickly on the managers, and when we interview managers, it's part of the process. Like, you need to fit in with the company culture. We act like a franchise system. We're serious about this. This is a lot of money, and we don't joke around. This isn't something we take lightly, and I don't expect my managers to. This is meaningful, it's impactful, and it's important what we do. And they need to understand that. And if they don't, honestly, they shouldn't be a part of our organization.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. It's if you find the right fit, find the right person for the job. Exactly. Well, we've crammed a lot in in a short period of time. I would love, we could do a part 2 if I could get you to commit. If we could do a part 2, what I would love to do, because you're talking about, I know you drive your rates. You're really pushing the rates in your markets because you believe in your product.
Yes.
Well, you believe in your product because you have the marketing engine behind it to make sure you're driving the people that are for your leads.
That's correct.
I'd love that with part 2. Kind of talk about some of the marketing aspects.
Do it.
That'd be huge. So
yeah, I was just doing like all morning. We were running through plotting out our tenants and the individual neighborhoods they're in and all sorts of stuff. I love that kind of stuff. So, and you're right. We are confident in it because we know how you got to run the front end and the back end of the business to get higher rates and achieve it. So I'd be happy to jump back on here and we can dive into the overall marketing strategy to give you confidence for your rate increases.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. That'd be perfect. Well, again, thank you so much for your time, AJ. For those who are listening to this, they want to learn more and maybe reach out to you. Where do they find you?
Yeah, so you can find me pretty much online. Instagram, AJ Osborne. You can go to Self Storage Income. I have a podcast too. You can go check that out, or just the site, selfstorageincome.com. And you can DM me or email me from the site. And that's the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Perfect. Right. And I'll put all the links in the show notes so it's easy to find or click away. All right. Man. Thanks again. Take care.
You too.